What it do, people? It's the MMA guy. Today, I wanted to talk about a topic that I've been thinking about it, and to be honest, it's a hard one to talk about because Merab is looking unbeatable at this point in his career. But I will still bring it up today. Is Song Yudong a nightmare stylistic matchup for Merab? I've been looking at the division, and I'm looking at matchups and fights for Merab. I think he beats. I think he's probably gonna beat Umar in the rematch. I don't think Umar has the control on the ground to be able to help him keep a good pace against Merab in the later rounds, and I don't think he's gonna take it. I think next fight's gonna be worse for him. To be honest, I don't. I think Merab's just gonna be better. Merab seems more improved than Umar is what I mean. Next, and you look at the Peter Yan fight. I think Peter Yan relies on the high guard he has been for the past years. To think that he's gonna fight differently, I think it's a fever dream. I think Yan is gonna jab. I think Merab is gonna jab, get the high guard, get the takedowns, and or at least get the controlling cage position time, work takedowns where Peter Yan's not able to do much, not able to shrug him off, stuff like that. So I think Merab's going to beat Peter Yan. That's what I see. I don't see Peter Yan being able to KO Merab, especially not as the fight goes on. I think that becomes less and less of a threat. And Peter Yan, his first round is not that good. Therefore, he's not really going to be able to get the momentum to do something. That's what I think in this matchup. But here's what I see in Song Yudong. I see a dense, very physically strong fighter with rewatch the fight between Song Yudong and Corey Sandhagen. I mean, sure, Corey Sandhagen does not have the offensive grappling of Merab. I mean, we can all agree on that for sure. But the way that he's defending these takedowns, and he got took down once, but here's the thing. People are grinding takedowns. Like, for example, Peter Yan was able to take down Song Yudong, but the way that he did it was with these very unorthodox takedown, the way that he's shooting is not the same way that Merab shoots. When it comes to the conventional type wrestling takedowns, Song Yudong is phenomenal. Henry Cejudo couldn't hope to get any takedown. Like, it was not getting close at all. Didn't get close once. And he's a similar frame to Merab-ish in terms that he's a short, blocky wrestler. Thing is, he doesn't push the same pace. And there's one thing that I see as being problematic. I think Merab going to be able to get him like his back against, not his back to the fence, but he's on Song Yudong's back against the fence, and he's like throwing him down, and Song getting back up, but Song draining because Song's cardio is a little suspect. So I do see this fight probably being a Merab 3-2 fight. But here's my thing. I think Song Yudong's KO threat against a guy like Merab is the highest among current bantamweight competitor. I think that the way that he's boxing heavy, doesn't throw a lot of kicks, unlike O'Malley. O'Malley, granted, has great boxing, but he does throw kicks, he does throw all these things. Meanwhile, Song Yudong is very boxing heavy. So he's going to throw some ends with Merab, which is, when you're hoping for a KO, you want your fighter to throw ends. Like, when he's throwing low kicks and you're hoping for a KO, you're like, man, my fighter's going to get bodied. This is what you think when they're fighting Merab, and they're throwing, like, body kicks. Oh, man, he was hurt in the first fight, in the 5th round, man, with the body kick. Dude, please. Like, don't do that. We know Song Yudong isn't going to do that. He's going to be throwing bombs, and he has fast hands, and he's powerful. He's the most powerful 135er right now. Besides maybe like a Sean O'Malley. Maybe Sean O'Malley can generate the same amount of KO threat. He has a level of KO threat, I feel like Sean O'Malley. but it's because he's a more creative striker. He throws from like weird angles and stuff, and he gets you with the shots that you don't see coming. That's more so the KO threat of O'Malley. Meanwhile, you have Song Yadong, who's straight up a powerful puncher. And Merab has gotten better. He has great distance management and stuff, but he has to crash it. That's the reality of his fighting style. He has to crash in. Song Yadong's super young. He's about to turn 28 years old in a month. This is crazy. Like he's 27 currently. I think and he's off a big win against Henry Cejudo. He won all 3 rounds. He outstruck him in every single round. And it was getting worse and worse for him until they got like the high poke situation, which fair enough. So, but he was winning that fight. No one thought, oh man, Henry Cejudo's coming back into this fight. He's probably gonna edge it out. No one thinks that. No one believes that. Okay, everyone knows that Song Yadong was gonna win this fight, or everyone actually genuinely believes that, and that's all that matters, because it's a hype-based sport. And it's his best win that he's gotten on his resume so far, but it does show well because Henry Cejudo had zero success in the wrestling with Song Yadong, who was a threat on the feet, and Henry Cejudo was able to take down like a year and a half before that. Was able to take down a prime Aljamain Sterling. He took him down 3 times. Besides that, the people that we've seen have success, Peter Yan. But like I said, like Song Yadong was 26 at that point in time, and he was close to his prime. He was 27 probably already. I don't remember much. No, I think it was 26. So he's only getting closer and closer to his prime. He's had a good fight against Yan. I don't think Yan was in peak mental state and everything. I don't think that was the prime of a fully prime Peter Yan, but it kind of was because it was a 3-rounder. If it was a 5-rounder, that fight would have been worse for Song Yadong, to be fair. I think he might have been not stopped, but he might have gotten beaten up pretty badly. Styles make fight, guys. And I think Song Yadong in the first 2 rounds is going to be dangerous and he's going to be hard to get down. When you look at the Corey Sandhagen fight, he has robotic takedown defense. He's he looks like the guy that was built to beat. When I saw that fight again, I was like, okay, he lost. He got caught with elbows, okay? Against Corey Sandhagen, he was beating the dog water out of Corey Sandhagen. And then Corey started catching him with elbows because Corey's like super long and he throws these out there. And he's a very, very good technical striker. And it was one of the time where Corey's peeker and test tube style worked. It was against Song Yadong because of how they stylistically match up. Meanwhile, generally when Corey's like being super technical and stuff, he kind of loses, like against Merab, against Umar. But against Merab, he performed great. I just mean that I think that was a bad stylistic matchup. Then he fought Yan. Yan's a fighting computer. And I get that Merab also beats Yan. And so you're like, well, you're talking about a guy, Song Yadong who's lost to a guy at Merab 50-45. But people don't understand that styles make fight. It's kind of like what opened up my eyes to this is that fight between David Onama and Steve Garcia. I thought the level of competition that David Onama has beaten and fought is higher level than the one that Steve Garcia has fought. But stylistically, Steve Garcia is a nightmare matchup. And I picked David Onama to beat him. But then he got starched in a single round. So I'm like, okay, well, stylistic breakdowns are extremely important as well. When you listen to a guy like Lucas Tracy, who's going to talk about level of competition and all of this, it's very important. But we forget the stylistic aspect to it. I think Song Yadong, when it comes to conventional takedowns, he has a brick wall takedown defense. He has very fast hands, very good power. He has fairly good cardio. For the first 3 rounds, he's going to be in your face. And the 3rd round, he's going to start slowing down a little bit, to be fair. And I think Merab's going to take over if the fight gets there. I think Song Yadong has one of the best KO threat, power threat, and if he hits Merab cleanly, I don't think Merab's gonna stop going forward. But I think it makes up for a phenomenal matchup. First off, this is a great fight. Like, if we see this fight happen, the fight itself will be phenomenal because of those first 2 rounds. They will be crazy. I think Merab's going to get caught with something big. He's going to keep going forward just like in Merab fashion, overcome adversity. Probably going to win that fight, to be fair. I don't see Song Yadong winning a decision against Merab, but I can see him try to even offensively grapple. He has good grappling. Song Yadong, again, try to shoot takedowns. He's not going to land anything, or like control Merab on the ground. There's no shot that this would happen. I'm just saying, I think, and he's one of the more dense, physical bantamweight. I can't think of a better frame at bantamweight than Song Yadong, unless you include Merab. Merab, because Merab is shorter, he's like, 5'5", 5'6", and Song's like closer to a 5'8", and so surely Merab is a bit more muscular and he's gonna look like more dense. But Song Yadong's probably the second most dense bantamweight, I would say. He has the best frame for the division, in my opinion. Powerful. This is a matchup I would pay for, man. They had it on Paramount. Well, obviously it's gonna be on Paramount by the time that this is made. So that would be crazy to be able to watch this fight. I think it's phenomenal. I get that Song Yadong's not on a big streak, but there's no one for Merab except rematches right now. Umar, okay, and here's my thing about it. I understand that Umar could do something big, but for Umar's beaten Corey, Umar's beaten Bautista, but Bautista's not even a top 5. And so you don't get a title shot off of beating a number 10 generally. So that's like the win that Song Yadong has over Henry Cejudo. They both have the same win. And then they're both off a loss before that. It's like they're both 1-1 in their last 2. And it's a very similar level of competition. Henry Cejudo and Mario Bautista. I feel like they're probably... I think Mario Bautista is probably better than Henry Cejudo. But Umar has already got his shot at Merab, and he hasn't shown the level of improvement where you think, oh yeah, he's probably going to win the rematch. Because Merab has been improving since. So I would love to see... And Umar's the only one where we realistically, besides me for Song Yadong, but no one else thinks Song Yadong beats Merab or has a good shot, except me. Pretty much, that I've seen from MMA YouTube. So you go... So for Umar, since he's the golden opportunity to beat Merab, he's the only other guy that has a real shot, let's say. Give him another fight to build up that hype even more. And in the meantime, do the Song Yadong matchup. If Merab beats Song Yadong as well, he's going to have a ridiculous resume. Ridiculous. So, you did a Peter Yan rematch, because Peter Yan had to win 3 fights in a row, by the way. He's on a 3-fight win streak against good level competition. I mean, you have Figueiredo with 50-45. And Figueiredo's still winning, by the way. Like, he just beat Montel Jackson in a fight where now he's like 38 years old. He's looking old, but he's still beating these guys. These, like, prospects. Guy in Montel Jackson who KO'd, who was on a 2-fight win streak, beat Daniel Marcos, who's, like, right under the ranking spots. And then he also one-tapped Damon Blackshear the fight before that. We're talking about a guy that's beating the cream of the crop outside the rankings and Figueiredo in a stacked division. And Figueiredo just ran through that guy. Well, not ran through that guy. Okay, he beat him in a close decision. But he was, like, in that first round, he was beating him handedly until he started gassing out because he doesn't have the cardio to keep up a good fight anymore at this level. But yeah, so you have that. Then he's also beaten Marcus McGee, who granted wasn't ranked highly, but he's also beating the dog water out of people like, he's beaten Jonathan Martinez so much worse than Aldo beat him. It was dog walking him until the leg kick started taking like an effect on him. But he's fighting at that level, Marcus McGee, at that level where Aldo wasn't in his prime anymore, but still Aldo was still phenomenal. He's fighting Bautista and beating Bautista. He's fighting at that level, Marcus McGee. And then he also has another win against Song Yudong himself. So we're talking about 3 good wins, especially the Song Yudong win. But you're talking about Peter Yan having to do that, and then Umar getting a win against Bautista, who's at that level that Peter Yan has been fighting 3 times to get his shot at the belt. No, I want to see Umar fight the loser of Peter Yan versus Merab. So probably Peter Yan. I want to see Yadong fight Merab in the meantime. And then if Umar beats Peter Yan, which I don't think he would, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think he would. Then you make the Umar versus Merab 2. That's what you do. That's what I have for this division. Let me know what you guys think about this matchup. I know that this may sound crazy at this point in time because Merab's so dominant and you're not really going to want to hear me out about it. But that's just how I see this fight going, if I'm being honest.